Hello. Good morning, greetings friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures if you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin. You have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 33 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, you've come to the right place. We are here for you on The Bright Side, and we love hearing from you at 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. Got lines open, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about, longevity products, truth, skin health products, something you may have heard about or read about, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can purchase your favorite longevity products off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Got new products coming out here in the next week or so. And you can also check out all the old standbys, our Truth Biomimetic Mineral Mist, Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream, Truth Retinol 5% Gel, and Truth Retinol 1% Gel, and our Truth Transdermal C Serum and Truth Transdermal C Balm. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. Prescription potency without the prescription. Truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. We have been talking about building the body as a building system, as a renewing system. It uses chemistry to do it. We spent a lot of time talking about the amino acid cysteine. I got more I want to talk about in terms of cysteine, in terms of N-acetylcysteine, NAC, this unbelievably multifunctional nutritional supplement. It leverages the property of this really important building amino acid, cysteine, underappreciated. It's not an essential amino acid. You can make it, from methionine. You can make it from meat amino acid. Methionine is found in beans and other high-protein foods. I was just reading about meat study. This is an interesting article from the Journal of Nutrition. Study finds red meat as part of a healthy diet is linked to a reduced risk of multiple sclerosis. I found that really interesting, considering meat gets such a bad rap. I'm not much of a meat eater myself for a lot of reasons, but meat gets an undeserved bad rap. Human beings are omnivores, and we grew up eating meat. According to the study, people who consume unprocessed red meat, and that's the key word right there, unprocessed. People who consume unprocessed red meat as part of a healthy Mediterranean diet may reduce the risk of multiple sclerosis. New research led by Curtin University and the Australian National University has found, unquote. Now, this is published in the Journal of Nutrition and examined data from 840 Australians who participated in an autoimmune study, I call it the Awesomune study, to determine whether there was a link between consuming a Mediterranean diet that includes unprocessed red meat, such as lamb, beef, and pork, and they linked it to a reduced risk of multiple sclerosis. CNS demyelination is what they called it. Central nervous system demyelination. That's when the myelin sheath breaks down. Now, Doc's been talking about the importance of meat as part of the healthy diet. A couple things stand out here. First of all, unprocessed is the key word. Processed meat is awful, awful food. There's no getting around it. Hot dogs, sausages, bologna, that kind of stuff is just about the worst food a human being can ingest. Processed meat. On the other hand, unprocessed red meat it's loaded with nutritional value. Unfortunately, you can't really draw a conclusion about the unprocessed red meat because, in this study anyway, because this was a study where they use unprocessed red meat as part of a healthy Mediterranean diet. So whether it was the meat or whether it was the Mediterranean diet that was responsible for the reduced risk of multiple sclerosis is hard to say. Nonetheless, a case could be made that the fact that unprocessed red meat was at least part of the reason why people had reduced risks of MS upon this meat plus healthy Mediterranean diet way of eating. Of course, people who live in the Mediterranean tend to get lots of sun as well. The volcanic soil is important in the Mediterranean. So it's not, we don't necessarily know that you can duplicate these kinds of results by eating a Mediterranean diet in the United States and by eating unprocessed red meat by itself. So you got to kind of take this with a grain of salt. Nonetheless, you can draw the conclusion that meat isn't such a bad thing, that there's wonderful nutritional value in meat, and indeed there is, depending on the kind of meat you eat. And one of the most important components of meat is this amino acid methionine, which gets turned into cysteine. Between methionine and cysteine, you got two incredibly valuable amino acids. So whether you're going to eat meat or not, this is the importance of making sure that you're getting enough quality protein. You can get your cysteine and your methionine from eggs, and you can get it from legumes, and you can get it from pretty much all protein foods. You can get it, in fact, you can get it really from all foods, but high concentrations of cysteine and methionine do require enough protein and enough high protein foods. So cysteine is a building substance. It's responsible, at least partially, for the body's nature as a building system. The body's nature as a building system is itself a function of the cells that make it up, cells that are constantly communicating to each other, talking to each other. So with such a clear and coherent ability that 100 trillion cells, I mean, that blows me away, that number, 100 trillion cells. 100 trillion of these tiny little blobs. That's what a cell is. It's a tiny little blob. We look at, when we think back to our biology class, our high school biology, our college biology classes, or if you followed anything about health, you've probably seen cells drawn as a circle. And so it leads us to believe that a cell is like a circle, but it's not. A cell is like a little blob. And you got 100 trillion of these little blobs somehow operating as a coherent whole, and they accomplish this incredible coherency, and they form this incredible whole made up of 100 trillion parts via communication. They talk to each other. And they talk to each other in this way that allows the cells, all the various cells of the body, to function as a system. And that is so important to recognize, the nature of the body as a system. A system refers to, when we call the body as a system, it refers to the fact that the body is composed of various parts, lots of parts. You've got 100 trillion little tiny cells, you've got various organs, and you've got various tissues, and they're all kind of woven together as a macro system made up of tiny little subsystems, which themselves are composed of even smaller systems, and on and on and on until you get down to the level of a cell, which for convenience we think of as the most fundamental system in the body, even though if you really want to get down to it, the cell itself, you can zoom into that, and that itself is composed of subcellular systems. The definition of a system is an organization or a collection of elements, of components that are put together for a common purpose. And understanding the system nature of the body is job number one if we're going to leverage the body's ability to heal itself and stay away from the medical model. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll continue on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, If you have questions about the longevity products or our Truth Skin Health products, which are all available at truthtreatments.com, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, or even better, if you want to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team, call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Okay, so we're talking about the body as the body's nature as a system, which requires an ability of all the various parts to communicate to each other, and even more fundamentally, it requires an ability to understand how all of these different parts are woven together to form a system, which is defined as a collection of parts that are put together to form a common purpose. The nature of a system, this is the most important idea when it comes to alternative health and when it comes to how I practice health and how Doc practices health, and really the common sense way of practicing health, is to understand the nature of a system as something that you cannot take parts out of, or you cannot poison parts of. This is why the medical model is an utter failure when it comes to our day-to-day health. It does not take into account the fact that a system such as the body is such and structured in a way that you can't take parts out of it. You cannot manipulate the parts of a system without affecting how the system works. It's as simple as that, you guys. You can't take parts out of it, and you can't poison the separate parts and expect to be better for it. Period. End of story. The nature of the body as a system highlights the major flaw with the pharmaco-medical model, what we call the pharmaco, that is drug-medical model. You cannot remove or poison / i.e. drug one part of the system without changing that system and without affecting the entire functioning of the system. This is a principle. This is a fundamental truth, and it's a principle of toxicology, by the way. It's a principle of the science of poisons and the science of pharmacology, which are the same science. The science of poison is the science of medicine, and the fundamental premise in the science of poison is that you can't, the science of poisoning the body, or toxicology, which is the science of poisoning the body, is you can't change one part without affecting the entire part. That's a fundamental principle of toxicology, and by extension, it's a fundamental principle of pharmacology that nobody talks about. Drugs are quite literally poisons, and the idea of poisoning the body, or a component of the body to make the entire system better, flies in the face of logic, of common sense, of the science of toxicology, and only drug companies, which make an ungodly profit by selling us these things, and they're deluded doctors who believe in it, and they're not bad people, most of them, doctors. You probably have your bad apples in there, but for the most part, doctors didn't get into the business of medicine to hurt people, but they're deluded. And I know why they're deluded, because I went to pharmacy school, and we got propagandized just as much as doctors do about drugs and by the drug companies, and these doctors who are prescribing beta blockers and calcium channel blockers and heart toxins like digoxin and lanoxin, and drugs that poison and paralyze and shut down various systems of the body, various parts of the body, they're not bad people. They're just deluded people. And they're the only ones, along with the drug companies that are profiting off these things, who think that any of these ideas about toxicology and poisoning the system to make it better make any sense. The human body is an incomprehensibly, beyond our ability to even begin to understand how complex and how finely tuned and how regulated the system is. And it's constantly adapting itself to the environment that it's existing in. We just have to honor it. We just have to be worshipful of it. It is as close to a manifestation of the divine force as we can possibly picture. There's nothing more complicated than a human living body in the universe. It's made up of various components and various systems itself. The system of the human body is made up of various little systems, all of which are regulating themselves, regulating each other, regulating how the body responds to life, Somehow it's managing to continue with this regulation despite all the changes that naturally occur in our environment and in the world. When the body systems overheat, a water cooling mechanism begins. This water cooling mechanism involves sweat, and as the sweat evaporates, the cooling effect of this evaporation cools the skin and ultimately cools the inside of the body. On the other hand, when the body becomes cold, a reflex is activated, and you get these tiny little muscles that contract, resulting in a shaking. We call that shivering. That shivering generates heat. It warms up the inside of the body. This is all occurring without our conscious control, without our conscious understanding. And this cooling and warming system is just a classic manifestation, an icon of the body's internal wisdom that kicks in every moment there is a change. And of course, we know that everything's changing. So literally, every moment, this internal adjustments, these microscopic, beyond our ability to understand how many of these little tiny microscopic changes are constantly occurring. That's called homeostasis, and it's a miracle. It's like a temperature control system in your home, but it's infinitely times more complex and more microscopic, and it occurs in all of the body's cells. It occurs for all of the body's functions, and it occurs without conscious thought. It occurs without our awareness. It occurs almost literally spontaneously on its own. Literally on its own. When the environment is too extreme, however, when we have starvation, not enough resources, nutritional resources coming into the system, or dehydration, not enough water coming into the system, or suffocation, not enough oxygen coming into the system, or perhaps extreme temperature, or maybe mechanical trauma, our health becomes compromised because the homeostatic mechanisms become overwhelmed. It's not like the body is flawed. The body's perfect. It's just that its ability to adjust becomes overwhelmed, and we say we are diseased or we're sick. And at that point, when that homeostatic mechanism, the adjustment mechanisms become overwhelmed, that's when we go to the medical professional. That's when we go to the doctor, who will typically poison our bodies, toxify our bodies, maybe even mechanically damage us, maybe take something out, tie something up, reroute something in the system. Yes, rerouting tubules in the system. We call that surgery, and the poisons and the toxins are called pharmacy and drugs. And if you think that response is completely ludicrous, if you think responding to homeostatic overwhelm, the body's lack of ability or overwhelmed ability to adjust to the environment, if you think that pharmacy and surgery is ridiculous, is a ludicrous solution, now you can understand a little bit about why we spend so much on healthcare in this country, more than any other country in the world, and we're simultaneously sicker, and we have the poorest health of any of the industrial countries in the world. That's according to the Journal of the American Medical Association. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back with your phone calls and more good health information right after this. We are back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team by clicking on the Join the Team link for a one-time $30 fee. You can be in business for yourself. You can start a longevity business, or if you just want to get your products at the wholesale price, you can do the same thing for a one-time $30 fee. Click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. All right, got lines open, 844-236-6010. We'll get your calls here momentarily. A couple of things I want to read to you here first. This is from... where is this from here? This is from Journal of Endocrinology. According to researchers from RMIT, University of Melbourne in Australia, researchers have uncovered a new link between chronic stress and reproductive problems in a preclinical study. Now, I've been saying this for years. We have an epidemic of infertility, and if you are one of the unfortunate couples who can't make a baby, you'll probably go to the doctor. You'll probably go to the hormone doctor. If you're like 99% of infertile couples, you'll go to the hormone doctor, and he'll give you a hormone. He'll give you a hormone that will compel your body to make a baby. Now, it doesn't always work, or it doesn't always work right away. It may take a while. But ultimately, you could very likely end up with twins or triplets, not necessarily healthy twins or triplets. But the fact is that there's a reason why there's infertility. And the most important reason is because of bodily duress. When the body is under duress, it will not make a baby. And this is true about miscarriages also. If you're one of those unfortunate women who are constantly having miscarriages, it's not because you don't have enough hormones. It's because your body is under duress, as, by the way, manifested by the hormone estrogen and the hormone cortisol. So if you can't make a baby, if you're infertile, try activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system. And not just when you're making a baby, although that helps, relaxing the body when you're conceiving or when you want to conceive, using slow, deep breathing, using massage, using water. Why do you think hot tubs have the kind of reputation that they have? It's because when we activate, when we're in hot water, we activate our libido, we activate our fertility chemistry. So relaxing the body becomes incredibly important. Now, the headline of this study, by the way, this is done at RMIT University in Australia. Chronic stress, as it turns out, is also linked to the hunger hormone. It's called ghrelin, G-H-R-E-L-I-N. And this is also one of the reasons why we can't lose weight. Under conditions of stress, under conditions of long-term stress, it will be much harder to lose weight. Under conditions of long-term stress, you are going to be eating like crazy. This is one of the, I would say it's the major reason why we have such an obesity epidemic. It's because we're all under chronic duress. We're all under chronic stress. Again, this doesn't mean we need to be medicalized. That's the good news here. The fact that so many of our problems are the end result of a hormonal response to chronic duress, to chronic stresses, to overwhelm of the body's homeostatic adjustment mechanisms is great news, because it means the solution to our health crises is not doctors, it's our own lifestyles. I was just reading yesterday, 80,000 cancers are caused by stress and lifestyle and diet. 80,000 of them. Probably more. This is just according to a study that was in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The reason nutritional supplementation is so powerful is because it puts resources in the body. When the body has enough resources, raw materials, it perceives safety. It takes us out of fundamental stresses that are initiated by a lack of resources. When we think about stress, we tend to think about emotional stress, and indeed that's a stress, or psychological stress, or mental stress, or even spiritual stress. And these are all extremely important. But the lack of raw materials, the lack of basic resources, whether those resources are food or water or oxygen or micronutrients, is equally a stressor. So just getting on a nutritional supplement program can be a huge step towards reducing, lowering bodily duress. Changing the way we eat can be a huge step in reducing bodily duress and bodily stress. When you reduce bodily duress and bodily stress, the sympathetic nervous system, the stress nervous system, begins to quiet down. The parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system, kicks in. And you end up with a rest and digest response rather than a fight or flight response. And that's what we're looking for. That's the key to being healthy. That's the key to longevity. That's the key to staying young and youthful, whether internally in terms of your chemistry in your body, or visually and externally in terms of your skin. And I've been saying this for years as well. If you have a skin health issue, and I've been in the skincare business since 1983, making skincare products, making topical skincare products, if you have a skin health issue, whether it's acne or psoriasis or eczema, you have an internal issue, and guaranteed 100% there is some kind of bodily duress, whether it's in terms of nutritional deficiencies or whether it's in terms of getting the wrong stuff in the digestive system or eating the wrong foods, or whether it's psychological or emotional. You can rest assured underneath the psoriasis and the eczema and the acne and the dry skin even, which seems like it would just be it seems like it's a normal part of being human. It's not. Whatever the skincare issue is, you can rest assured there's some kind of bodily duress underneath, bodily duress that can be corrected through our own personal lifestyle choices. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Got a couple more I want to read to you, but we'll hold off on that. Got lots of folks who want to talk to us this morning. Let's go to Chris in Kentucky. Let's see, I think I got stuck. Oh, there you go. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Ben. I appreciate you so much. I found you on Coast to Coast AM.
Oh, good. When did you hear me on Coast to Coast?
About a couple months ago.
Awesome. So you're a new listener.
New listener, and
love it.
Yeah. And I'm learning a lot about the food industry. And you said something about meat. I'd like to ask a question. Like ground beef or steaks, it's good quality meat. You have to watch for the slabs. You remember the pink slab that they had a problem with?
Yeah, the pink slime, you mean?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the McDonald's stuff, the pink slime.
Yeah.
That's the processed meat. That's how you make processed meat. Everything likes meat. Bacteria, funguses, everything that's alive likes meat. And so in order to process meat so that it can be shipped and so it can be stored, you got to do all kinds of chemical tricks to it so the bacteria won't eat it, basically. So we eat it, but the bugs won't eat it. And that's the pink slime. That's the manifestation or the origination of the pink slime. What were you going to ask me? I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Chris.
Oh, that's all right. And they talk about good quality grass-fed. To have and what not additives, pesticides. You don't want contaminants in the meat as well. I just support local farmers as much as I can on this because that's your best.
Are you in the farm? Are you in farm country out there in
I'm in
Bluegrass
the city
State?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, but we have a lot of farms around us.
Hang tight, Chris. We got to take a break and we'll finish up when we come back. Okay? Don't go away. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open 844-236-6010, and we are in the Bluegrass State of Kentucky with Chris. Go ahead, Chris. Louisville, huh? That's where you're at? What do you do out there? What do you do?
I work in a restaurant, but I don't eat the food there because I know where it comes from.
Don't tell me the name, but what kind of restaurant?
It's just a breakfast, lunch, brunch place.
Like a diner kind of place?
Right,
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So talk to me. What's going on? How can we help?
Okay, I want to, I had a question. Somebody asked me one time about smoked meat. You should not eat smoked meat. Could that be?
Well, that's not quite true. Smoking itself is just a preservative, a way of preserving meat, I should say. And if you have great meat and you smoke it, that's not a problem. Although you may lose some nutritional value, that could happen. But what he's talking about is smoked processed meat. Like smoked salami and that kind of thing, smoked sausage. That's a lot different. And I said it before, I say it all the time. It's just about the worst food a human being can ingest is processed meat. Now, donuts and French fries and potato chips and French fries and deep fried foods are right up there. But I don't think anything's worse than I think that's at the top of the list is processed meats. For so many different reasons. You can't process a protein and not expect to tweak it. You've got all kinds of preservatives that are used in the meats. You don't even know what the meat was in the first place in a lot of these things. It's just about the worst thing a human being can ingest. The farther you stay away from processed meat, smoked or otherwise, the healthier you'll be. That move alone, if you're a bologna eater, a salami eater, a hot dog eater, or even a hamburger eater, that move alone will extend your life and reduce your risks of disease more dramatically than any other dietary change you can make, with the possible exception of going ketogenic and eliminating sugar. It's just awful, awful stuff. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it really does, Ben. And if I'll call in if I have anybody with some health issues, that I'll give you a call for help.
Love to do that. That's what we do here on the Bright Side. And thanks for being a new listener. And just congratulate yourself because you didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
No.
You're waking up. The kids say these days woke. You're starting to be woke. Most of the people listen to me. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Most of you folks are beginning the awakening process. And I personally think the planet is beginning to awaken to the fact that the world is filled with bull crap. with lies and distortions that are there not to help human beings, but to enrich and aggrandize and entrench institutions that are anti-humanity. If I can just get on my high horse for just a second. But we are beginning to wake up, and that's why you guys are listening to this program. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Visalis, I think. Is that how you say it, Visalis, in New York?
Vasily. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good. I've talked to you before, haven't I?
No, you haven't.
Ah, okay. But you have that New York accent that I know so well.
Yes. How you doing, Ben? Long-time listener. I love you, my brother. I want to tell you that
Thank you.
You've taught me so much over the years.
Oh, wow.
I just want to tell you that. I've been able to help so many people because of your wisdom and your knowledge. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
today.
Hey, where in New York are you? Before you get started, where in New York?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. All right. Brooklyn's looking pretty good these days, huh?
Well, sort of. Depends.
Sort of.
If you like a lot of.
Not like when I grew up there, or I grew up in Queens.
Totally different world. You wouldn't like it.
Are you born and raised in Brooklyn?
No. Queens. I'm from Queens.
Queens. Yeah, I'm from Queens. Yeah, that's where I'm from, that area too. So yeah, back in the day, you didn't go to Brooklyn voluntarily. You didn't walk around Brooklyn anyway.
Exactly. Totally different world.
So what's going on?
Right. Yeah. The reason I'm calling is because we're under attack here in New York, and of course you've known
the measles thing. The measles
thing. Man, in New York, it's crunch time, and the reason I'm calling is to put the word out. It's an SOS. People, we need to fight this bill. They want to attack our freedom of religion and the freedom to bodily autonomy, bodily sovereignty. That's huge. And
you're in the police state. That's the police state, New York.
Exactly,
it's an awful.
The worst.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I was just there. It was shocking. The people don't know. There are people, soldiers with automatic weapons just everywhere.
I know. It's crazy. It's absurd. And
it's draconian.
And what's happening here is I'm terrified for my daughters. We have religious exemptions for my daughters because we have sincere religious beliefs. It's all about the blood, Ben, and I know you've mentioned it before about how important it's all about
sacred.
Blood. Health is
sacred,
about blood,
holy
sacredness. Exactly. We can't contaminate the blood, and that's all about all these diseases that you mentioned: autoimmune diseases, neurological diseases. No matter what disease, it's always the blood, and that's what I've learned from you over the years about the blood, and that opened up my mind and
awesome.
And the whole thing about health. And now bring this to the spiritual level, religious level. Now, when you contaminate that blood, of course things will go wrong, especially when it's foreign DNA, foreign blood, putting it into your body through vaccines.
Nail on the head, Vasily. Are you a healthcare professional?
I am. And
what do you do?
Mostly right now, I'm in the nutrition field.
Got it. Well, you're sharp. You hit the nail on the head. The life of the body is in the blood. That's in Leviticus in the Bible. The life of the body is in the blood. It's the sacred place, and nothing should ever get into the blood that has not been completely vetted by the intelligence, the divine intelligence of the human body. And to inject things in through the skin is absolute. It's an icon of the stupidity of the medical model to just willy-nilly inject things. I don't care if they tell me that it reduces the risk of measles by this or that percent, and whether it does or not is debatable. Even the great polio vaccines that everybody talks about, that's debatable whether that even works. And it's just a big problem. So you're just alerting us to. I mean, thank you for alerting.
You guys.
I appreciate it, Vasily.
Because we need the help. We need the help, all the help we can get. So if you guys are in New York, please contact me. If I could give out my contact.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Please do.
Contact me through Instagram. I'm Kozis Wellness, Kozis Wellness on Instagram, and I keep you guys up to date. I'll tell you guys what's happening. I have action alerts all the time about who to call, what to do. So please reach out to me. We're looking for religious leaders as well. Any religious leader that wants to come and help us in this movement, please contact me. Time is ticking. What else did I want to say? And Ben, you mentioned something about the measles, right? The measles is just a rash of fever and sniffles, and they're panicking like it's Ebola or something.
It's a little cold. For 95% of people who get it, it's like a little cold.
I'm sure you had the measles when you were little.
Yes, and it confers immunity. It's the best immunity there is. It's the best vaccine there is. It's God's vaccine, the measles.
And not only that, Ben, I'm sure you've looked at the research, and there's some cancers that they say you don't get certain cancers once you get a natural infection. I mean, that's the way the body trains itself.
nail on the head, brother. You hit the nail on the head. So listen, I'm going to follow you from Truth Treatment. So you'll see a follow coming up. Awesome. And then why don't you reach out? I'll reach out to you, and then we'll communicate by Instagram, and we'll hook up here, and maybe we'll get you on there.
Ben, love you. Love the work you've
God bless you.
You're improving humanity. You're improving
Praise
humanity.
God. That's awesome. You're warming my heart, brother. That's beautiful. Thank you. Awesome. Have a beautiful day, and we'll be in touch, I'm sure. Thanks, Vaselis. All right, that was great. I love that. That was just. You have no idea how validating those messages are. Because sometimes you wonder if you're like a lone wolf crying in the wilderness. Because the pharmacomedical model is so massive. And while you guys listen to this program, you don't take for granted how special you are for listening to this program. You're the tip of the tip of the tip of the tip of the knife, the tip of the tip of the tip. And most people are still there at the bulk. Millions, the masses, don't have any idea of this kind of stuff that we're talking about or that Vaselis just talked about. They've just drank the Kool-Aid, just masses of humanity, millions and billions of people around the world. And you guys who are listening to this program, do not take for granted the fact that you are listening to this program. And on top of that, start spreading the word and pay it forward. All right, Barry in New Orleans, you're going to get the last word again. Here, what's up, Barry?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I have two questions. Could you repeat once more of the flaws of the China study, and also
there's a couple flaws of the China study. This is the problem when you do a study and you have an agenda. That's why I don't like studies anyway. I don't really, I read about them sometimes if they're interesting, or I read them on the air if they're interesting. But really, I'm not a big believer in the studies. You got to know the biochemistry of the body, and then the studies don't really matter. By the way, I was going to read this. I forgot to. Eggs apparently are not a bad thing. A month ago, they were a bad thing. It's a problem with studies. The problem with the China study is the way the China study worked is this guy, T. Colin Campbell, went out into China, into the farmlands of China, and he talked to farmers, and he noticed that if they were eating certain foods, they got more cancer. Those foods, of course, were animal foods. And so he came to the conclusion that if you drink milk or you eat animal foods or you eat meat, you're going to have more diseases. And that's what the China study is about. It proves that you have more disease if you eat animal foods. The problem was he didn't control for what kind of animal foods they were eating, or what they were eating with the animal foods, or cooking the animal foods. You can't draw a conclusion from these things called epidemiological studies that have to do with allow you to live your life effectively. Epidemiology is a flawed science. I'm out of time, Barry, but this is a very good question. And it also, by the way, epidemiology lends itself to agendas and people drawing conclusions that they want to have, cherry picking, so to speak. Barry, we're out of time. That's a very interesting subject. I hope you'll call back tomorrow if I don't mention it. I'll try and talk about epidemiology and what it means and its flaws tomorrow. If I don't, give me a call back. All right, we're out of time. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side, friends. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.